Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this message we're going to be speaking about the book of Esther. I want to be preaching on something that the Lord's been reminding me of, and he wants me to share it with you guys. So this has to do with your calling. Whatever God has called you to do, I'm speaking about the importance of doing it and also what would happen if you didn't. Okay, so he was speaking to me about Esther being the perfect example of this. So if you have a Bible, you can search it out also, but I'm not going to read the whole chapter. I'm just going to read from chapter 1, verse 9. Okay, so for all those that don't know the story, this is a king that has a banquet, and he has a queen that her name is Vashti. Now, he has so many days that he's putting on this feast. You know, he's invited so many people from all kinds of places, and they're just there to see all his glory and riches, and you know, he wants to be able to show off everything that he has. So it says here right in verse 9, Queen Vashti also made a feast for the women in the royal palace, which belonged to King Xerxes. Okay, so she, instead of being concerned with what the king was doing, she was doing her own feast. Okay, so on the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Memucan, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of the king Xerxes, to bring Queen Vashti before the king, wearing her royal crown, in order to show her beauty to the people and the officials. She was beautiful to behold. But Queen Vashti refused to come to the king's command brought by his eunuchs. Therefore the king was furious, and his anger burned within him. Okay, so here we see the queen. She's doing her own thing. She's pretty much lost her whole respect for him. She doesn't, she's been around him so long, I guess, that she just had a big head. She got too comfortable. Okay, and God was telling me, you know, we have to be very careful when it comes to him giving us a purpose, giving us a calling, and he calls you to do it. Now, I know there's certain seasons for everything, okay, but when it comes to that season and you know God is tugging at you, you know he has shown you what your calling is and what you're supposed to be doing. Now, when you feel him tugging you to go ahead and start that, but you don't do it, then it's not a good thing. And this is what God is showing me right here. Okay, so, okay, I'm going to jump to verse 19. Okay, so this is where he asked counsel from his right hand, you know, all the people that are the wise men, his officials. And so it says in verse 19, if it pleases the king, let a royal decree go out from him, and let it be recorded in the laws of the Persians and Medes, so that it will not be altered, that Vashti shall come no more before King Xerxes, and let the king give her royal position to another who is better than she. Okay, so long story short, she gets replaced. Since she refused to answer the call, she got dethroned. Okay, and this is where Queen Esther comes in, and she is very godly. She is very honored to be where she's at, and she does the job. Okay, so God is saying, We have to be like Queen Esther. We cannot be Queen Vashti. Okay? There's other parts in the Bible where it shows another example. And I was being reminded that the same thing happened to King Saul. You know, God gave him that big position that he was called to do, but he messed up. He got too comfortable, and it wasn't about God anymore. It was about himself. And he just lost the vision, just like Queen Vashti did. She just lost all respect, all concern for God. She had more concerns for her own will for her life. Okay, so that's kind of pushing you to kind of look at yourself and say, okay, what am I doing? Am I doing something that I want to do, that, you know, for my own selfish reasons, or am I being doing what I was told to do by God? Okay, so if you want to go back and look, there's 1 Samuel chapter 15. Okay, you can read through that and it'll show you. And it also says that he should be replaced by somebody who is better than he. Okay, so it's the same situation. So also he was speaking to me about the talents. For all those who know about the talents, it is a very serious thing. You can read it in the book of Matthew, chapter 25, 14 to 30. Okay, so I can go ahead and read that for you. Matthew. (25:14). Okay, and this is a parable that Jesus spoke of. Okay, it says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants, which is us, and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents." Okay, whatever gifts that you have, whatever that God has given you to use, you should be using them. Okay, to each according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey. Then he who had received 5 talents went and traded with them and made another 5 talents. Okay, and then likewise he who received 2 gained 2 more also. But he who had received 1 went and dug in the ground and hid his Lord's money. After a long time, the Lord of those servants came and settled accounts with them. So he who had received 5 talents came and brought 5 other talents, saying, "Lord, you delivered to me 5 talents. Look, I have gained 5 more talents besides them." His Lord said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord." Okay. He also, who had received 2 talents, came and said, "Lord, you delivered to me 2 talents. Look, I have gained 2 more talents besides them." His Lord said to him, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a few things. I will make you ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of your Lord." Then he who received the 1 talent came and said, "Lord, I knew you were a hard man, reaping where you have not sown and gathering where you have not scattered seed. And I was afraid and went and hid your talent in the ground. Look, there you have what is yours." But the Lord answered and said to him, "You wicked and lazy servant. You knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed. So you ought to have deposited my money with the bankers, and at my coming I would have received back my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has 10 talents. For to everyone who has more will be given, and to he who has an abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the unprofitable servant into the outer darkness, where he will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, so it's something very serious to be wasting time when God is calling you. Sometimes we get too comfortable. We start working at places, doing things that it's only beneficial, like money-wise, okay? And he was speaking, he was saying, let it not be money what is keeping you from doing my will, because it is not profitable to you as much as you think it is. He was telling me a lot of the reasons why a lot of people, even if they're rich and famous, they're not happy. They're not happy because they lost the vision. They lost the sight of what God was telling them to do along the process. Okay, so you will never be fulfilled unless you are doing what God created you to do. He created you to do that specific thing. He designed you for it. So he was speaking to me saying, unless you are doing your calling, you could be trying to fit your feet into somebody else's shoes, and it's not for you. It's just not going to be comfortable, and you're going to be very much in pain later. So he's saying, do what I designed for you to do. And so he was also saying, you know, when the king was calling Vashti, you know, to show her with her crown and, you know, just show her off, he was saying that everything that he has deposited in us, everything that he has worked in us, every, you know, preservance, everything that he has done in us that has molded us and made us the people who we are. We're stronger, we're wiser for everything. And, you know, there comes a time where he'll say, okay, so now you're ready. Now I want you to do this, you know, show my glory through you. That's what he wants to do. So that's his way of him, you know, not only, you know, for you to be benefiting it, but for other people to see what he has done in you. And therefore you can be a testimony for more people to see and want that also for themselves. So by you not answering the call, you're being very selfish, and you're defeating the whole purpose of your being here, your call. And God does not want you to throw that away just because of what you see around you. You want to be famous. You want to be just seen. You want to impress people because of your position, or you're too worried about what people would think if you did what God was telling you to do. But what you don't know is that when you do something that God is telling you to do, you will be blessed and be fulfilled beyond what you can imagine. So again, God is speaking me to tell you that it is time for you to be seeking out. If you don't already know, seek out his will for you. Whatever call that he has on your life, he wants you to answer that call and get closer to him. Well, I thank you for listening to this message. I hope it blessed you. Until the next video.